Welcome back to the Broker Power Up podcast, the AIME podcast for strategies, stories, and insights to help you close more loans. I'm Tommy Golightly, joined by Jonathon Haddad.
Yes, sir. Here we are, man. These things get exciting every single week. We do them. I'm in Sacramento right now for our Unify event, but we're going to stay strong, stay true to the Broker Power Up. And I'm excited for this one today, my friend. What do we got fortune cookie wise?
Fortune cookie. Diving right into it. Let's see. What? Ooh. Stay open to the value of constructive criticism. I love it.
Dude, that one hits home so hard. Here's part of the journey of life, in my opinion, especially if you're somebody that wants to constantly strive to be the best version of you. Like I really believe that most people, not all, but I believe a majority of people get to a place in their life at some point that say, okay, like enough is enough. I got to figure out how to be the best version of me. And what we find if we look back, and when I talk to a lot of people and I go through and I talk about not regrets, but I'm like, hey, what are things you would have done differently? You know, what's one of the biggest things that they say is, I wish I would have just listened a little bit more. I hear it all the time. And so like constructive criticism to me, I do have some caveats to it. Okay. Number one, it's hard for me to take feedback from somebody that has not at least attempted to do what I've done. So for example, I definitely was that person where it's like, if you've never been by me day by day, if you're not seeing how I operate, if you're not around me 24/7 or pretty close to it, and then you come in out of nowhere after I've been doing what I'm doing for a few years, and in the first day, I mind you, you're just like, here's what you're doing wrong. I can't do it. I just can't. Now, you spend a few days with me, a week with me, you watch how I am. That's different. You're isolated understanding. What happens is the people that give unwarranted criticism, those are the ones where you throw people off. So here's what I'll tell you for constructive criticism that's helped me and how I deliver feedback. And Tommy, I actually think I've done this with you before. Mm-hmm. Hey, are you open to feedback? First thing that I ask, right? If they say no problem. It's like, why give my feedback if you're going to tell me no? Number two, if you are open to it, that's great. That sets you up. But here's the big thing for me, the constructive criticism from people that I absolutely love and that have done what I've done and do it at a very high level and a higher level than me, I am a sponge in writing it down. Like, you can hit me between the eyes as hard as you want. I need it. I enjoy it. I embrace it because there's probably a little bit of truth to it. Because if I get defensive to somebody that I love that gives me feedback, why am I getting defensive? I'm getting defensive because it's someone that I love that said, well, there's something that you can do better. Yeah. But the reality is, tough love is the best kind of love. Those are the people you remember most in your life. You know the coach I remember most, my gym coach, Mr. LaPointe. That guy turned me, I never had that kind of guidance when it came to sports. And I'll never forget, I came in one day, we had volleyball practice. All right. I made the volleyball team. I was super excited. It was my 7th grade year. And we had an early morning practice and I got in, we were supposed to start at 7 and I got in at like 7:05. As I walked in, I saw my friend and I went and said hi to my friend, Joel. And then Mr. LaPointe was sitting over there just way off in the stands. And he looked at me and he said, "Sit down," screams, points his finger like this. I walk over to him. He said, "Next time you're late, you come to me first. Do I make myself clear?" I looked at him a little upset and disappointed, a little frustrated. "What do you mean? Well, I'm only 5 minutes. I'm only. I. This is about a bigger picture. Constructive criticism allows you to understand the bigger picture. I loved this fortune cookie, Tommy. What are your thoughts on the constructive criticism piece?
First, I want to touch on that. I think this helped us bond when you first came to AIME. I'm thinking back to you came in to one of our marketing meetings and you said you wanted feedback. And I was just like, okay, I'll give it to him. And I didn't hold I've never held anything back. If there was anything I saw, I let you know. And not once did I get it's fine. It was, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I like that. And then I see you implement it. And that won so many points and helped, I think, our relationship grow because that established that constructive feedback loop of just how we work together. And you realize that the reason I was pointing those things out was for a reason and was for the betterment of AIM.
And you had data. It's funny. I remember that. And I was actually talking to, I think, Jen afterwards. And one of the cool things about it is when you're in that spot, now it's like you're watching me take that feedback too, as well. And first of all, thank you. Like I don't do well with compliments. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But like you're also watching me take feedback. So now in return, if I'm delivering feedback, you're like, well, John reacted this way. I should probably do the same thing if John reacted that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing of it. It's like if you're the leader and you're the person that people are going to make that final decision, if that's what role you have, right? From a title perspective, I put quotations on there. We all make big decisions, but it's like your team is watching you take feedback and criticism and how you handle it. And if you're throwing it off, all right, well, then why wouldn't they do the same thing?
Yeah. Why would they keep bringing it up?
I agree. No, I love that.
And I think that the leadership, it shows a strong leader in how they take constructive criticism. And when I say that, I make sure I include constructive because there is just criticism. Constructive is doing a lot of the lifting here because there are certainly ways where you're thinking you're giving constructive feedback, but it's really just there's no actionable item, which isn't constructive. It's just, this is wrong. Well, why is it wrong?
Dude, I love you. Don't do it this way. Yes.
It's like, okay, but what way?
Well, with you, what's funny is, for those out there, so Tommy comes with stats and data and facts. So it does get a little hard to go at him because he has all the data. So I'm like, why didn't we send, these 3 emails? And he's like, well, based on the last 3 years, here's what that looks like. Oh, well, that makes sense why we didn't send those emails out. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
But it's also trusting, right? And it's also coming with the evidence. And you're not just saying to me, even to me, right? You're not just telling me, dude, it doesn't work. No. You're saying, hey, it doesn't work. And here's why. And here's the data to prove why it doesn't work. And to your point, that's constructive. That's not just criticism. John, doesn't work. We're going to do something else. And that's the type of stuff that honestly, it empowers each other, right? We're empowering each other that this is okay. This is our feedback loop. We're good. There's no hard feelings. I'm not going to be upset with you. You're not going to be upset with me. And we can move on to the next big thing.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to go in today. We have the Broker Buzz, where we dive into the top posts of the week for the brokers, our best Facebook group, and discuss what's trending, what's working, and what you need to know. Then we're going to have a sales pitch training where John helps us become better salespeople. And then we'll wrap things up with a story time from John. So let's get into the Broker Buzz with our first question. Hey, Bab fam, curious if anyone else runs into this. When you get a low appraisal, how often do you hear the old school agent gripe, "This is why I don't like working with brokers," and go on to explain that local banks or lenders can handpick their appraisers? I just had this come up only the second time ever, and it made me wonder, is this a common objection others hear too, or did I just catch a couple of agents on off days?
Yeah, I love this. So let's be real about it, okay? Let's just call it what it is. Are there some bad appraisals that occur? The answer is absolutely. If your agent starts with that comment, and that's the first words out of their mouth, they didn't see the appraisal report, right? Like they get the appraisal report, and then within 5 minutes, which is not long enough to look at it, they're calling you, they're texting you, they're saying that stuff. This is why I don't work with brokers. They for sure are having an awful day. That is a paycheck to them. That is how they're looking at it. You cannot convince me otherwise. You can't. You just can't. Because if you really think and care about your consumer, you're going to look and read that appraisal report and see why it came in low. What was off about it? Why was it so much different than the comparables that just sold so recently? And I'm not saying there aren't mistakes that occur, but your job is to protect that consumer. That is your job. So if a house is undervalued and you're saying, I need this value, it's got to be 30K higher, that is not good for your client. You're putting them in a situation where they could be underwater. Right? That's the reality. And so you can approach this in several ways. One, if you want to be combative, you can do it. like honestly, if that's the mood you're in, go for it. Do I recommend it? I don't. I don't really get anything from it. I haven't found a way to move it forward. But the for me, it's like one, if they're too heated, I get off the phone. I say, look, let's touch base on this in a couple hours. Take some time. I don't want you to say things that you don't mean. We all do that when we're in emotional situations like this. And more importantly, when there's a lot of money on the line for you, for me, for our clients. Because you and I both know that I don't get paid either unless this loan closes. You do know I'm commissioned just like you are, right? Okay, perfect. So let's retouch base in a couple hours and let's take a look at this appraisal together. You're going to hear the tone slow down, or they're going to get riled up again. If they get riled up again, I'm okay with that too. Hey, like it really does sound like you're super riled up. Let's call your client and walk through this together. Well, no. Let me talk to my client. So once that happens, if the realtor is going down that path, you need to call the client first. Even if they tell you don't call, I'll call. Yeah, no. Because when they call, they're going to roast you and decimate you. And that's just not something that I'm going to allow to happen. The reality is, y'all, appraisals are changing. They're moving into a hybrid model. It's going to happen. Fannie's pushing for it. Go read it. I'm not like making it up. Just go read it. We are going to see a lot more hybrid models around the corner. And I believe it's something that will go into adoption over the next 5 to 10 years. And the other piece of it is appraisals. When they talked about they can hand select appraisers, that is not how it works. Okay. It's called an appraisal panel. So when you're a lender, right, you have a lender license, you can have a panel of appraisers. You can't just pick 2 appraisers and these are the only 2 appraisers that go out to your property. The other piece of it is this. This is the part that drives me up the wall that agents don't understand. All of these reports go into a massive database. This database sends back basically the risk on the appraisal. And the risk is ranked 1. Actually, I believe it's 0 through 5. 0 meaning it has no risk. Hey, this is a perfect appraisal, no risk. But when you have some of these reports come back that are 4, 5, which we've seen that before, Fannie Mae, that's Fannie Mae, they're saying, hey, we have the data on every residential appraisal that's ever been done. And based on every appraisal we've ever been done with AI and machine learning, we're saying this appraisal report is ranked a 4 in terms of risk. We think the appraiser screwed something up. And there's many times where if it comes back as a 4 or 5 rating in terms of risk, they're going to make you do another appraisal anyway. So learn all of that. Show that to the agent. That's the SSR report, I believe, is what the name of it is called. The SSR report, you get them on every single appraisal. You can see what they risked this appraisal at. I love starting there. Hey, did you know Fannie's automated system ranked this at 4? A lot of these appraisals, you'll see that, especially if the ones come in at higher value. So pay attention to that stuff. Be willing to have the conversations, but for don't let them say that. It has nothing to do with being a mortgage broker. This is about protecting the consumer. So I appreciate that question. You got to stand your ground on that stuff.
Yeah. And you said something about hybrid. What are the parts?
Yeah. So Fannie and Freddie has now followed suit. So what you're seeing a lot more of is the data reports. So basically Fannie's coming back and saying, we've accepted the value. So value acceptance, but then they want a third-party data report to come in, data verify. So somebody goes out there and just checks that everything is in order. Everything looks good. Fannie has this very comprehensive list of people that are approved to do this. And so you just send them out. But now you can get stuff like this at only putting 5% down, where in the past, on a purchase transactions, for example, you had to put 20% down to get a full appraisal waiver. Now, based on certain profiles in certain areas, they're coming back and saying, hey, 5% down's fine. I just did a loan actually for one of my real estate agents that got 5% down. He got this data verified, an appraisal process, and it's getting better. We got that appraisal back in 2 days at the value of the home that it was coming in at. So the hybrid appraisals, you're going to see a big shift over the next 5 to 10 years. They're going to make the appraisal process as objective as they can versus the subjectivity that we have right now with the appraisal process.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, number 2, reverse question. Can a borrower use proceeds to pay off debt in order to meet residual income requirement?
Yes. So residual income is for VA specific loans. These are veterans, right? Do I have enough residual income after I pay my bills left over to have enough residual income to take care of everything else? There are a set parameters and rules based on your family and your size on how much residual income is acceptable in order to get a loan. This is done as long as you update everything in your systems correctly. Residual income will pop up in your findings as long as you're updated all correctly. So make sure your taxes are good. Make sure the insurance is right. Make sure all the things you need about that client is inputted correctly. Now, it's monthly obligations as part of this process for residual income. So can you pay down debt? Yeah, you absolutely can to help bring down residual income requirements and make the loan work. The truth of the matter is, if residual income is high for a veteran, it's a very important conversation that you have to have. What I heard LOs do, and by the way, like I did it too very early in my career because I was naive. I didn't know, right? You're just trying to figure out a way to make the loan work. That's not the conversation. Call the client, make sure they understand what residual income is, make sure you're protecting them, make sure they walk them through that process, especially for our veterans. They don't always get a lot of information as they exit the military about what benefits that they have, about how VA loans work. It's us as consumers, or us as loan officers, teaching them this process. So go through residual income with them. Yes, you can pay off debt as part of it to help bring residual income down, but just make sure it's a beneficial loan for your client.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, education is king. Moving into our final question for the week. I've worked with brokers who grind like crazy, chasing every deal, trying to hit impossible numbers, and they still end up empty. Then I meet the ones who keep it simple. They serve their clients well, do the right thing, and show up with character every single time. And somehow they always come out ahead. Chase success, sure, but don't trade your peace of mind or your integrity to get it. There is more than enough business out there. Just make sure it doesn't cost you who you are.
This is, it's always like when you text something, some things can take out of, they can be taken out of proportions. And I feel like the message here was a good message, right? When I read it, I get different ideas, but I can put myself in their shoes with what they're saying, especially with the way they ended it. It's like, hey, don't compromise your integrity. That is, yes, let's be clear. I completely, 100% utterly agree with you, right? Don't don't cut the corner because it's easy and you can. And that's what, there's people out there that put themselves in those predicaments. The other part, though, that's I've seen this actually a lot lately, and people are talking about work-life balance. And I read some of it in what the comment just was. That is really hard for me to. It's hard, and here's why. My videographer Rami, he travels with me everywhere. My best friends, and when agents call me, I answer the phone. And there's times where I'm slammed, busy, and he'll see me do it. I do this before they call. Right before I answer, I go, "Hey, this is Jonathon," just like that. And I'll never forget, he asked me one day, he goes, dude, like, why do you still, you always answer? I said, because that's a phone call I would have died for 5 years ago. I'd have done everything for that call. I wanted that call so bad 5 years ago. And now that call constantly comes, and I'm very fortunate. I know I am. So it's like, it's really hard for me when I see stuff where people are like, don't answer on the weekends, or make sure you have the peace of mind. Make sure, like, y'all, we're in commission sales, and we start at zero every single month. I do have peace in my life, but like peace of mind when it comes to my business, no, I don't. It needs to be constantly on the go. If I don't pick up, another LO is. That's just the reality of it. Y'all see it too. Let's not pretend that other loan officers aren't blowing up your agents left and right. Stop pretending that, especially if they have any kind of production at all. Let's not pretend there isn't companies out there throwing money, right?
Yeah.
And we know it's not the right thing, but we see that happen. So please be careful with it. The integrity piece, completely and 100% agree. And I think what you're talking about is like, hey, set up a business that works for you and the stuff you want to do, right? And that's fair. That's different. Like setting expectations, teaching agents, about clients and how it works, about how loans work, and hey, not cutting corners. That's a different part of the puzzle. But please, you got to put in the work. Answer those phone calls. Protect your integrity at all costs. I completely agree. But don't lose sight of the fact that we start at zero every month.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think picking up like you said, picking up the call and taking the call is important. And then what you can do to kind of manage without overextending yourself is, like we talked about last week on the calendar, of set expectations. Like pick up the call, take the call, have it, but set expectations of when the next thing will happen, and when, like, if you're stretched too thin, you won't be able to provide the quality of service to your customers that you should. So if you take too much on at once, it's learning to balance, right? Like I do with the podcasts, right? I make sure we have enough, so we have some every week, but then we always need to manage and figure out what happens if there isn't. Like if there isn't a loan coming through, what do you do then? Then you go and find it, but you balance yourself so you're not overcommitting, but not undercommitting as well. If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, Tommy. And like even for your side, right, with the podcasting and everything that you're doing, one of the biggest areas too that we miss with this process and the peace of mind, it's also, here's what I see a lot of loan officers do is they, like a client comes in, the loan doesn't work and they won't deny it fast enough, right? Like they want to make it work for the agent. So they're calling 45 AEs, they're calling everybody and their mother. But then you pull a credit report and you see all these missed payments, you see derogatories. It's like, yo, that's where you're losing time. You're spending 2 hours calling AEs and posting. And do we have somebody that can do a 500 credit score with 78 missed payments? Do you want to give them money? Like, I'm being honest with you. Like, if I said, hey, I want to listen, please, like, actually, you know what? Take it out of context. I don't even care. If I said to you, hey, I'd like to finance a bicycle from you for $2,000, really nice bicycle. You said, okay, I can do a little interest payment on that, but let me see. You pull my credit and I've never made a payment on time. Are you going to lend me a bicycle?
No.
Like, are you going to give me the $2,000?
No.
I'm serious. Like, I'm serious.
If you've never,
and
no.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying, y'all. So like, don't be afraid to rip that Band-Aid off and stop trying to make everything work. You'll lose a lot of time. And that might be a little bit of what they were talking about from a peace of mind perspective.
Absolutely. Well, if you want one of your questions possibly answered here on the podcast, you can do two things. One, you can leave it in the comments down below, or two, you can become an AIME member. Join the Brokers Are Best Facebook group and make a post, ask a question, and we'll go through it and we'll look. Our community will chime in, answer it for you, and then you may have a chance of it being answered here. How do you become an AIME member? If you're not, you scan the QR code on this ad, and on the other side, we'll see you for some sales pitch training.
Are you a wholesale mortgage professional? Well, then the very first thing you need is a community to help you and your business grow. With AIME membership, your community is right here. Joining our community means never navigating the market alone or operating without a safety net ever again. We are 16,000 members strong of united wholesale professionals. From rookies to top-ranking originators, all dedicated to supporting each other's success so we can grow together. Beyond entry to the best community in the mortgage industry, AIME membership gives you the resources, tools, guidance, discounts, services, and support that help you and your wholesale business grow, thrive, and most importantly, close more loans. AIME membership connects you with leading wholesale lenders and vendors, offering you exclusive access, services, and discounts that save you more money while helping you make more money. Never get stuck on a loan again with our lender escalation program. Grow your network and skills with the wholesale industry's best conferences and networking events. Get the strategies and skills of top originators and industry innovators with AIME's cutting-edge wholesale mortgage education, resources, and content. AIME offers all of this and more, starting at a low price of $19.99 a month. You heard it here first, couple cups of Starbucks coffee. For you to learn more and get started, all you have to do is visit aimegroup.com, AIME group.com/membership. Your community is waiting.
And I'm waiting to become a better salesperson. John, what do we got?
All right. So, there's a lot to building a sale. There's a lot to building it. the first thing you have to understand about sales is interest of the consumer. All right. So I want to give you an example, and it'll be a little story as to this, but I know we have story time after here too. So I was just in Tennessee. We had a few March Madness winners, and we went down there and then saw some community members, had a good time. And one of the guys that came with me, awesome guy. And so his name's Vincent Condor. The guy is amazing, been in the industry 20 plus years, just a good human being. And so we went down, and Vincent said, he grew up in a different culture like I did. And so cowboy hats, cowboy boots, that was not a thing in the culture for us growing up. So we go down, he's like, we go to Broadway, and we go downtown, and he's like, I think I want to get a cowboy hat and boots. I said, what? I said, yeah, I think I want a cowboy hat and boots. So we're walking up and down. They have a bunch of little shops down there. So he goes into the shop. And so when he opened that door, Tommy, do you think there was any interest at all?
Yeah, he said he wanted to.
Now think about it, you as the salesperson. So I want you to think you're on the opposite side. You're the salesperson. Okay. Your entire door, like all you see in your window, all I see, it's boots, cowboy hats, nothing else. Boots, cowboy hats, some flannels. We'll put it that way. All right. And then a bunch of polish for the boots. So Tommy runs the store. He sees a Vincent Condor open up the door. All right. He sees a Vincent Condor open up the door, and Vincent Condor, right, has some interest. Is that a fair statement?
I'd say so.
Okay.
You open up the door to the store.
Now, us as loan officers, when a client is connected with you and they're talking to you and they're spending 15 minutes on the phone with you, do you think there's some interest at all?
Yeah. 15 minutes in 2025, that's a long time.
That is a long time. And so what I see a lot of people do is building the sale, they lose sight of. And then what happens, Tommy, is if they don't get that consumer, they say out loud, they go, well, they just weren't ready. They don't know what they're talking about. They just have no idea. I can't believe they're not going to do this. This makes so much sense. They have to buy this. They do everything in their power to explain why the consumer didn't use them. But the truth of the matter is that consumer had interest because they called you. So how you build the sale is incredibly important. A lot of people are so short-sighted on this, Tommy. They'll sit there and they'll say to themselves, okay, here's my rate, here's my cost, here's how the loan works, here's your monthly payment. Okay, good. No, ask questions. Well, John, what if the consumer doesn't want to answer my questions? I don't want to answer the questions my doctor asked me. I don't want to tell them that I probably had an extra drink when I shouldn't have had one. I don't want to tell them that I haven't been drinking enough water. I don't want to tell them that either. Doc, just tell me how to fix this. Doc, just please give me the Band-Aid. And we talked about peace of mind. We talked about building the type of relationships you want. So how you build the sale is important. And what I want to talk to you all about from a sales standpoint is building a sale. Building a sale is not difficult as long as you know the direction to take it. And so my challenge to all of you is this. How does your introduction call start? You start with excitement? Because I worked in retail for over 6 years, Tommy. And here's what I tell people. Here's the biggest difference between being on the broker space and the retail space is the first 3 minutes of the call. In the retail space, I worked for a massive lender. So when the client was talking to me, they already did the branding for me. I didn't have to earn the first 3 minutes. It was earned for me. As a mortgage broker, you have to earn the first 3 minutes. Because if a massive lender calls them, oh yeah, you've seen our commercials? Oh yeah, I have. You're down. Just so you know, sale on your side doesn't matter the cost. And we can see the data. You can see how much more in cost a lot of these retail shops are charging. But yet they're doing tens of thousands of mortgages. Tens of thousands of mortgages. So how does your introduction sound? How do you build the sale? How excited are you about what they're doing, about their purchase, about their transaction? How long have they thought about doing what they're going to do? So, Tommy, for this, what I'm actually going to give you, my friend, is I'm going to give you a link to give our community.
Okay.
This is an interactive pre-approval tool that you can use however you want. It's already built out. Tommy will put it in the edit here for y'all. So y'all can just take it, click on it, take it, adjust it. Click on the buttons. You will see how to build the sale. It's interactive and it's really easy to use. It walks you through start to finish how a pre-approval call should go. Now, look, for those of you that you got this dialed in, yeah, you add your flair to it. So this will be for people up front that maybe haven't had the training or the learning on how to do this. But this interactive tool is really easy to use. It's brought to you by AIME, and it's dialed into the data and the analytics about building a sale with somebody. And y'all will love the tools, but please don't lose sight of building a sale. Just like that person did in Tennessee when Vincent bought the hat. And Tommy, I'm going to send you that video.
So he did buy a hat? He did buy a hat?
Tommy,
did he buy
a hat? Let me you know what, Tommy? We can edit this and do what we want, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you this, Tommy. I'm going to send you this right now.
Sure.
Look at that.
I've never seen someone come out so confident.
So did he buy a hat? He did more than buy a hat, Tommy. This guy went all in, and it all started with a sale being built.
In those first couple minutes, yes, the consumer has interest. He had interest in going and buying the hat. He had interest in going and buying boots. And, but just because you have interest doesn't mean you know the full process. You don't know like the upkeep of these boots, the upkeep of the hats. Because I know that I know enough to know that there's a lot when it comes to upkeep. And having like what you're getting into, how much is the hat? Is the hat, oh, I have interest in a cowboy hat, but I only really wanted to spend $50. You know what I mean? Like I have an interest in a house, but I can only put X down.
You know, the 2.0 part to this is the managing expectations, because the best salespeople, you create the excitement, but then you go into 2.0 and you manage the expectation, right? Which is, hey, just so you know, the upkeep for this is like this. And then you sell polish. Here's what it's going to take for you to own something like this. Like those are the best LOs, y'all. I'm telling you right now, those are the best real estate agents. Those are the best salespeople. Build the sale, get the excitement. Hey, by the way, before you buy, there's a few things that you need to know. This might not be for you if, wait, what? Now you're taking, that's 2.0. So I'm not ready to teach that just yet, but you're
Sure.
on to exactly what the next step is. But that's my sales tip today. Build the sale. We will send you the link. It'll be right in here. Click on it. It's interactive. Take it. It's yours. Have it. Enjoy it.
If you are interested in getting a cowboy hat and boots in Nashville, you can do that when you come and visit us in Fuse this fall. So
you nailed it.
So scan the QR code on this ad and we'll see you on the other side for Storytime.
Fuse is just around the corner, believe it or not, another year down. And we are excited for the largest event of the entire wholesale mortgage industry. Fuse National Conference 2025 is taking its show on the road. Now emanating from Nashville, Tennessee, from October 23rd through the 25th. This event is all about sales, sales, sales. Don't miss the chance to join us in Music City for 3 days full of the most cutting-edge content we've ever produced, featuring the industry's top minds, leaders, and innovators. Access the newest tools and resources from wholesale leading lenders and vendors. Take part in our acclaimed workshop summits for free. Catch wholesale's rising stars in their very own breakout sessions. And of course, take part in the best and, quite frankly, the most fun networking opportunities you'll find in the wholesale channel. Join us to grow your network, your skill set, and your business at what will no doubt be the greatest Fuse conference yet. Go to fuse.aimegroup.com to sign up and receive updates when tickets go on sale. Secure your hotel room and get your Fuse tickets for free. That's a $600 value for the prices as low as $199 when you sign up for an AIME annual membership. Don't miss your chance to be there when wholesale history is made at Fuse 2025. I can't wait to see you there.
And we're back. Ready for story time.
Yes, sir. All right. Today's story, it's a couple quotes that come to mind. So one of huge influence for me is Jim Rohn. He passed away, a motivational speaker. He passed away in 2013. So I love to watch him as much as I can. I definitely watched him after he passed away. I was not really into him prior to that. I didn't know much about him. But as I've gone on my journey, like so many of us have, you start to learn and adapt and really, really go towards certain people. And he was one of them for me. And I was listening to, he has a bunch of audiobooks that I absolutely love to listen to. And I have this really long one of a bunch of his speeches that he puts together. And the reason I love it is I get a bunch of like little quotes and things that he pulls out from the conversations that he had. And he had a quote and he was talking about his mentor. And he said, when I was in my late 20s, he says, I had a mentor, Mr. Shelf. And I was talking to Mr. Schoaf, and I said to him one day, I said, Mr. Schoaf, if I had more money, I'd have a better plan. And his mentor replied, well, I'd make the argument that if you had a better plan, you'd have more money. And that hit me really hard. And I started thinking about a lot of people within our community, and it made me think about Nika Ojo, for those that don't know, and her husband, Ralph. I was at their house. I got to cook with them not long ago. And one of the things about them that I absolutely loved as part of this story, as part of what they did, they were showing me pictures of where they grew up. Ralph slept on a cement bed. I saw a picture. It was cement. It was cement. And as he's showing me the pictures, Ralph's smiling the whole time. He's smiling the whole time. And here they are in the empire they built together, sitting there smiling about their past. Because I'm sure when they were sleeping on those cement beds and they showed me a picture of the kitchen on a dirt floor, that was the kitchen. I'm sure there was pieces of time in their life where they would have thought, gosh, I wish we would have had more money. But instead, these amazing human beings said, you know what? It's not the money, it's a plan. We got to figure something out. And I don't want to share the entire story because it's such a beautiful one. And when our cooking episode comes out, you're going to learn a lot about it. But how good is your plan? How good is it? I mean, have you dissected it? But John, I don't have the money to get the coaches, or ChatGPT is free. You can actually tell ChatGPT to be whoever you want it to be. Say, I want you to be the worst professor I've ever had. I want you to be awful when you criticize this. I want you to pick this apart. I want you to be relentless. That's at your fingertips now, just so y'all know. So how good of a plan do you have? Or do you sit there and just wish you had more money? I know my plan needs to be better. I know my plan needs to be more efficient. I pick my plan apart as often as I can. And matter of fact, I probably need to do it more. It's not about the money you have, it's about the plan that you have in place. Money's not supposed to fall in your lap. And there's another quote I want to share with you. And ladies, just fill this in with queen, because to earn your crown too, they talk about the stories. And the story of David and Goliath. Old story. Well, when David was ready to be king, God didn't send him a crown. He said, here's Goliath. He didn't give a crown. He said, conquer this. For our ladies out there, you want your crown? You want to be queen? What is your Goliath? That's what I want. I don't want a crown. Give me Goliaths. Give me things to attack. Test my character. Challenge me. It's hard. It's stressful. It's difficult. But guess what? As things become more difficult, your planning has to become that much better. So that is my challenge to all of you. Don't worry about how much money I have. Worry about the plan that you have in place. So that's the story I want to share with all of you today.
I like it. I mean, it goes back to controlling the controllables, right? And a plan is only as good as how you implement it. And a plan is good for today, but needs to be reevaluated constantly. Is it still the right plan? And whoever's on your team that is required for that plan to succeed, you should meet with them and talk about it. Is the plan still working? Do we need to make changes? I like that.
Thanks. Thanks, Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, that puts us at the end of the podcast. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Broker Power Up Podcast. If you found today's tips helpful, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Let us know you enjoyed it, which helps even more people see this content. Subscribe to the YouTube channel already. If you haven't, ring the bell to get notified every time we drop new content. We have a bunch of new lives coming out, and you can watch all of the previous lives there as well. Share this video with a fellow broker who could use a power up. And remember to lead by example, lift each other up to grow together, and most importantly, close more loans. Until next time, keep powering up.
Thank you.